Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back to the show. Excited to have Nancy Volante here joining us live on the podcast, also on the Zoomcast today, face to face. I get to see her live in her beautiful home and get to see her energy here as well, besides just feeling it all the time and speaking to her. Now I can see her. It's exciting to have her here. She's the founder of a company called Imagine Yoga, and she's based out of Ridgefield, Connecticut. And used to be. You're in Maine now?
No, I'm in Ridgefield still.
You still are? Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And
but Maine is nice.
I'm so sorry, I got it confused. But give an introduction. It's our first Zoom here together, right? So
I know.
Give us a little bit of your background. Tell us about your company.
Well, first, it's really good to see you, Jill, in person.
You too.
I've been having so much fun. It's great. So Imagine Yoga is a yoga studio in Ridgefield, Connecticut, and I started it about we're going into our fourth year, and it's very heart-centered community. We work with Vinyasa yoga. I also work with astrology, and it's a fun community. We really are. We have a lot of fun, but we really like to impart our knowledge, between myself and the teachers. Teachers are fantastic. And that's what we're doing. We're just trying to, bring everybody together with some mind, body, and soul connection. And how do we take that off the mat into the world, which we need a lot of that right now. We need a lot of connection and a lot of understanding of ourselves and with others.
Awesome. So today we're going to talk a little more about yoga and astrology as well. Before we do so, could you remind us of the website and best forms of contact for you, please?
Right. So the website is imagineyoga.space. And you can also get in touch with us on Instagram, Imagine Yoga. And my number is 203-770-8938.
Beautiful. All right. So let's talk. I'm looking at the notes now I have for the first half. The kinesthetic world of sensation, movement principles. What is this? Tell me.
So the world of yoga, or any movement, right, is kinesthetic. So that means it's the feeling of the body. It's the body. That's where we are sensing our environment, our conditions, through our mind, through our body, right? And through our feelings. So I wanted to set that up first, and then come around with the sense of what is mindfulness that connects into that whole world of yoga kinesthetically. So what is mindfulness? Mindfulness is the quality and state of our consciousness, our feelings. And I have my notes here, and I want to read what I wrote down. Mindfulness, the quality or state of being conscious or aware of something. So what that something is what you have chose to do. Today, we're doing it through yoga and astrology. So that is being conscious and aware of our mind, the state of our body, and how we communicate through that, and our feelings. So those are three areas that we embody when we come on the mat. And then when we leave, when we walk off the mat, we hope that that's the hard part. Hope that we can keep that in somewhat, and that's the learning that never stops, still, right? That is up and down and all around. It's just like, you can correlate it to how we live on the earth. Some days it's really sunny out, other days it's cloudy. There's weather. There's also weather in our bodies, right? And to be mindful of that, to be conscious of that, allows us to come to a place where we're going to talk about of centeredness. So the physical expression, what we're going to talk about right now, the physical expression of mindfulness is what I call a balance between effort and return to center.
Okay.
So effort, so it's a continuum, right? So this notion, this modality of movement is a continuum. It's a line, right? It's always moving. We're always exploring that line. And you'll see me move a lot today because I move a lot.
I love it.
So that continuum starts with effort.
Okay.
right? And that's right what we're talking about right now, the physical expression of yoga.
Mm-hmm.
So, for instance, we move our arm, right? We move our arms,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the effort, right? That's the effort. But the mindfulness comes in, that continuum comes in. Do we move too far?
Yeah.
Does something happen? I showed this in class. I'm going to back up a little bit. You're not going to be able to see it on my body really because of my sweater. But if I lift my arm up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And let's go a little further. So if I lift it back, you'll feel your rib cage come out more. Okay. So the rib cage comes out. What happens in the back is you contract the back and it's contracting right over the kidneys.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that is too much effort.
Okay.
Right. And that's the mindfulness of being on that continuum. Oh, I have to return to center. Let's bring the arm forward. The rib cage comes back in. The back opens up. Try that, Jill. Yeah.
I am. I'm
Do you
here.
feel
With you.
that?
Yeah. 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 So go ahead.
Yeah.
Do it again with me one time. Would you
So,
mind?
yeah.
The arm up.
So effort is lifting the
Lifting up.
arm up. Here we are here. Now we're going to go beyond the effort.
Okay.
And we're going to bring
Push.
it back slightly. And we're going to feel our chest open and our rib cage come out. And the back contract.
Yes.
Feel right around where the diaphragm is. That's contracting a little bit too much on top of the kidneys.
Yeah.
All right. So that effort has gone too far.
I agree.
So within that awareness, that mindfulness, we bring ourselves back and return to center with that effort, and it aligns everything. Okay. So it's something that is done every day. I use this as like a little gauge or a graph, right? Sometimes when we're in a pose, let's pick a pose, downward facing dog. And if you don't know that, the listeners and viewers, it's okay. It's a shape that looks like a triangle, right?
Yeah.
Your hands are on the floor, your feet are on the floor, your body is coming, so your tailbone is like a triangle here.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're there, but say we want to go a little bit further. We want to take that effort a little bit further to create a little bit more strength and create what we said in the beginning, a little bit more kinesthetic sensation. Okay. Now that could be fine if you're, aware of your body, where is it going? Okay. So when you push a little bit more into effort, I don't want you to think that that's bad, because it's not. Okay. What you want to be aware of and mindful of in the body is if it is taking you to a place that doesn't feel comfortable, that takes the bones out of alignment, like we did with our arm going up. We went back a little bit. That didn't work because our rib cage came out, our back contracted on top of the kidneys. Okay. That doesn't always happen, but I bring those two effort and return to center conditions into that continuum to show you that one can be okay, one cannot, because we live in duality. So it's always checking out what is feeling good to me, what isn't. Okay. And that is really yoga. Yoga, we think, and I've done this, I was a professional dancer for 15 years. It's competitive, right? You want to look like the other person. Hey, I want to do that. So I'm going to go for it. Sometimes that doesn't work. Well, a lot of times that doesn't work, right? Because we're going outside of our body. We're going outside of that continuum to be somebody that we're not.
Yeah.
So yoga and what dance did teach me this, and it was a hard lesson, but it's okay. That when you want to be something that you're not, it doesn't work. So that maybe can cause mental discomfort. It can cause maybe a great deal of physical discomfort, maybe injury if you're going beyond that effort. And your feelings, it's like, whoa, well, who am I? What am I here? Right? So it's this big, huge, when you're dealing with the body and movement and connecting mind, body, and soul, you are dealing with a big, big universe within your body, right? Again, we've talked about it. It's that micro within that macro. We're the micro, right?
Yeah.
So how do we come to a place on our mat first? Because we're talking about yoga. of being comfortable. You know, I was
Yeah.
teaching yesterday, and there was two women next to each other. One could do a pose very easily, the other couldn't.
Yeah.
The other one could do a pose very
Mhm.
easily, and the other couldn't. And it was really interesting because at the end of the class, they had a conversation. Wow, I love the way that you did lizard. That's what we were doing. Oh, I love the way that you did arm balance or whatever. And they were comparing. And I said, well, what if you to them, I said, instead of comparing, what if you just said, wow, that looks great. Someday, maybe I'll feel that way within that pose or not, because our bodies are different. So we had that whole conversation. Like, we can admire somebody, right?
Mhm.
We can say, wow, that looks great. And then say, well, how does it feel on my body? How can I come to a return to center on that continuum and feel at peace or feel content?
Yeah.
Right? What do you think about that, Jill? What is that? Does that resonate?
You resonate with me. I'm I'm a very stressed out woman. I really am. I have two kids and I work what a lot of
Yeah,
people do, single parent, but but I this whole idea of I just started moving. And if I told you since the new year, I started going to the gym, walked around the neighborhood, little movements here and there to start
yeah,
baby steps and I feel so much better. Like I went to the gym last week twice and I walked on the treadmill for 30 minutes one day, 25 minutes the other day, whatever I can get in. It's not much, but it's a start. And I
yeah,
feel better and I feel good. And it's something I haven't felt in a long time because I haven't moved. And
right.
a hard lesson learned a few months ago. I had a herniated disc in my neck
Oh, okay.
at
Oh,
that moment, I said, I need to start making time to take care of myself because if I don't strengthen muscles in my body, in my neck, my back, this is the pain I felt. I could
yeah.
only imagine. It was disastrous. So I said, I need to start moving. It's so good for us. Why am I not listening? Why am I putting this aside? Yes, no time, no whatever. But no, yeah. So like I said, little increments. So you are resonating with me, and I love the fact that you move all the time. I'm a little envious, but you're inspiring me, and I hope you're inspiring our listeners as well, because that's what this is about.
It is about that. And I love what you said, small increments,
Yeah.
small steps. That's on that continuum of
Hmm.
effort, right? Your effort is here, but
Yeah.
that's okay. And then you return back to
Yeah.
center, and your center will feel different.
Yeah.
So it's small steps.
Hmm.
It's like I tell people that come to class, we can move towards, and this is what I said yesterday. We can move towards this arm balance. And I
Hmm.
brought it in because it's a little bit of a challenge. It's something that stimulates your mind, stimulates your body and your organs, right? But do
Yeah.
we have to do I couldn't do it. I don't do it anymore, but we do it in a way that we work up to it on that continuum. We had a block. We used the block to support us. So there's all those things in yoga, Jill, just to go off a little bit, and I think maybe we've said this before, we're a Western culture that's doing yoga, right? And a lot of Eastern, way back when, hundreds of years ago, they didn't use props. And then I often wonder, well, I have to research this. Who thought of props? But I tell you, I call them creative tools.
Hmm.
People think that when you use a block, when you use a bolster, that you're weakening yourself. You're on that continuum of strengthening yourself through the effort and coming back to center. So important to
Yeah.
understand that the props are creative tools. I love them.
Yeah. Oh
I
my
don't teach
gosh.
without two blocks in front of me. It makes me feel my body, my kinesthetic sensation and
Hmm.
language. And that's on that continuum. So what this continuum is doing, as I look at my notes too, is it encourages one to begin to understand their own structure. Like you just said, understanding your structure and your body was speaking to you, Jill. You had a herniated disc for a reason. The body
Hmm.
says, can't do what I'm doing anymore.
Yeah.
There's some kind of stress and
Yeah.
pressure.
Hmm.
Let's change that. Let's encourage
Yeah.
that to, you know, transform, if you will, into something else. And that's what you're doing every day. And it's
Yeah.
so beautiful.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, so we have
Nancy,
that modality, that understanding that let the yoga go for a moment in the philosophy. The body is about mobility and it's about strength.
yeah,
And it's about kind of centering those with effort and release and coming back to the center.
beautiful. Well,
Very
also at this
important.
time, would you mind just sharing, reminding everyone how we could reach you before we continue?
I do.
We're not
You
taking a commercial break. Don't worry. Go, go, go. But tell
Okay.
us.
So imagineyoga.space is our website. There's a lot of information on the website. And you can get us through Instagram, and that's at Imagine Yoga. And I should give you the right handle, but I will do that next time. Okay. So you can find it on Imagine Yoga Connecticut. And then my phone number is 203-770-8938.
Perfect. All right. So let's continue talking about movement. And did you want to go into the new moon, full moon yet?
Well, there's
or we
only
finish up
there's
the-
two last things before we go into the new
Yeah.
moon and full moon. There's two yogic philosophies.
I couldn't pronounce them.
I know. I always have a
I'm
hard
like, so
time
you have
too.
anything else you got to say? Because it's already Abhyasa.
Well,
and
you know what? You're
Vargaya?
close.
I don't know.
It's so close. Abhyasa.
Okay. Okay.
So these are two philosophical yogic terms, and you can use those as mantras. Abhyasa is practicing steadily, just like Jill said. So I want to point that out, Jill, and I want you to really embody that you were doing abhyasa without knowing it,
See?
because you were doing one step at a time.
Okay.
You're steadily going towards what you want to feel like, what you want to do, what your identity, your body wants to look like. That's abhyasa.
Okay.
Can we do that steadily? Can we do that by showing up?
Mm-hmm.
That's the first thing in abhyasa, to show up and then to be steady. We don't want to get there. We don't want to skip the continuum, because that's where all that good stuff is, right between my hands.
Yeah.
That's where the yoga is. That's where life is. That's where all the little nuances of how we learn about ourselves, I think, in my opinion, reside. Vairaga is how we surrender.
Okay.
How do we surrender to the ego of, I want to look like that, like this person. I want to do that pose exactly. And if I can't, I'm not going to feel good.
Yeah.
Well, can we surrender to that and accept who we are in the moment? So they're two very simple. I'm going to go, and you could go on and on with the philosophical terms like that, but I like to keep things really simple. Abhyasa, practicing steadily, one step at a time.
Beautiful.
Vairaga, surrendering to the ego, surrendering and accepting where you are, knowing that once you accept, you can move forward because you make space, right? When we surrender, we make space. Not easy. None of this is easy, but it is real. It's real.
Wow.
So I think that was the first part of, talking about that mindfulness, that continuum, that abhyasa and Viagra.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
You're
All right.
welcome.
Now, what did you want to tell us about the moons? Tell me.
So, because I'm always, as an astrologer
as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I love to, and I do my astrology. I'm very simple, very, very simple, everyday astrologer that really wants to bring that information of the cosmos, the universe. It's real. It's there. It affects us on many different levels, collectively and individually. It's no, it doesn't have to be like this big woo-woo thing. It's a science and it's a healing art.
Yeah.
So I wanted to bring in the new moon, because that's what happens every cycle. We have a new moon. Can't get away from it. It's part of who we are on this planet. It's part of what we share with the cosmos up there in the stars. We can see the stars, we can see the moon. We can't see the new moon because the new moon is dark, right? The new moon is dark. It's when the sun and the moon are on top of each other.
Okay.
So we just had a new moon, and it was called a super new moon, and that was in Aquarius.
Excuse me.
That's okay. That's all right. God bless you.
Thank you.
That was a couple weeks ago. So it was called the super new moon because it was so close to the earth. So when it's close to the earth, our bodies are going to feel that more. And that new moon in Aquarius was really about who are we individually? Can we possibly make some kind of what the ancients call seed thoughts, or can we plant seeds of a new beginning? It's always a new beginning. So every month, Jill, we get to begin anew.
Yeah.
Now, maybe we're not always conscious of it because it would be very, very intense, but we could feel it. So that new moon about how can we bring our individual gifts to the table and then share that collectively with our communities, humanitarian wise. That's that very simple notion of the new moon in Aquarius, which happened, I think it was the 15th. And now on February 5th, we'll take what we maybe learned from that or what we thought about that, and then we have a full moon. So the full moon will be in Leo. And this gets a little, I won't go into it, but astrology has polarity points, like the continuum right here, right? So Aquarius is always, always, always never changes. That's what's so beautiful about astrology, because some things, the structure doesn't change. Will always be Leo. So it's Aquarius and Leo. So we have the new moon in Aquarius, the full moon in Leo. Now, that full moon is bright. It's shining light, right, onto us. Leo is the heart. Leo is about the sun. It's the heart. So that full moon is about how can we make space in our bodies, in our mind, in our emotions, in our soul, to make space to shine our light, to have courage. Leo is about courage. Leo is about shining your creative expression with a healthy, humble heart. So that's what that full moon is about. And sometimes the full moon is illuminating, hey, listen, maybe we have to let go of that piece of something that doesn't work so we can let in this new beginning of what it's going to be this time around, of a heart, of courage. How can we move forward with courage and an open heart of self-love and love of expression? So this full moon is called a micro full moon. That means that it's the furthest away from the earth. And when you're closer to the earth, you're going to feel it differently than when we're further away from the earth. We will see maybe a bigger picture. Maybe we won't see, maybe we'll see within ourselves the bigger picture of how that happens in the outer world. A lot going on in the world right now. So, it's good to follow these things and maybe come back to Abhyasa. How can we move steadily, one step at a time? So we can Vairaga, surrender to the ego of the collective, the ego of the self. Leo, let's treat everybody with heart. Let's treat everybody with some love. And that love comes from, again, heart space.
Beautiful. Wow.
Any questions about that?
No,
How does that make you?
Good. And how does this work? We still have 4 minutes left in the show. Yay!
That's great. 4 minutes. So the mantra today is effort and ease. So within that, I like that. I didn't think that, but I just got a little epiphany. So effort and ease to kind of like bring together the new moon and full moon. I think that the effort in the new moon is to want to do a new beginning, is to want to make a change, is to want to plant a seed of whether it's a new thought, whether it's a movement practice, whatever it is. I want to plant a new seed. Like it could be so simple as I'm going to have a very healthy dinner every night. That's what I'm going to plant on the new moon. That's my seed thought. That's where I want to go. Now, sometimes it doesn't happen. Sometimes it does. You have to be kind to yourself, right? Because we're humans and things happen. Life happens.
Totally.
So that effort, then can we bring it to the full moon with a little bit of ease and understanding that we have to let go of something to make space?
Yeah. I'm loving it.
Within that, so that effort and ease. And I just want to read, I'm going to put my glasses on before maybe we take a little bit of breath. I just want to read something that I wrote this week.
Sure.
An open-minded practice has the potential to be filled with inquiry and kindness towards self and others. Our practice on and off the mat is the intention that infuses action. When we infuse our actions with our intention, we see, hear, feel, taste, touch life every day. So with our intentions can create an action, again, on this continuum. And our actions can hold and behold our intentions. And that's mindfulness comes in of maybe having a meditation practice every day, so we gain strength in our mind, body, and soul to hold our intention, to hold our ease, to hold our notion of returning back to center.
Wow.
So maybe with that, we take a couple breaths, maybe close our eyes. If we have a minute left, Jill. Okay, closing our eyes, just letting all the words, the energy, the movement now, because we could see each other, or I could see Jill, you could see us, resonate. Where does that land in your body?
Wow.
Where does that land in your mind? Where does that land in your emotions? Just pick one. Your soul, just pick one so it stays nice and simple. And then just take some breaths in. Meet yourself where you are. Abhyasa, steadily. Viagra, with humbleness, a surrender. And then just say to yourself 3 times, effort and ease. And then gently opening up your eyes. We can come into Urdhva Hastasana together. We're going to lift our hands up, our palms come up, lifting the earth all the way up. We come into prayer, Anjali Mudra, and we bring what we need all the way back down into our heart space. And then we say namaste.
Namaste.
My light honors your light.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Nancy Volante, Imagine Yoga. Exciting to have you here, and again, live and in person too. Thanks so much for your time today, and
thank you for your time,
occupying space in your beautiful home. My goodness, thank you. You have a fantastic day, and again, best form of contact is
ImagineYoga.space, or you can call us at 203-770-8938, or email me at Nancy@ImagineYoga.space.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Have a
Jill,
fantastic day.
Have a good day,
sweetheart. You too. Bye-bye.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.